Welcome to TV Africa News. Thank you so much for joining us and always being part of us. This is Africa Today. My name is Nahaba Kajir, but first, other headlines. FDC urges government to have fuel reserves to prepare for times of scarcity of fuel. Lira Kamdini road works on track. Ethiopia wants the World Health Organization chief Tedros probed for misconduct. In sports today, Algeria's 35th game unbeaten streak ends, now stares at imminent exit. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We start with one of our top stories. The Uganda National Roads Authority has clarified that the road works on the Lira Kamdini Road in Lango sub-region are progressing well. Now, this follows reports of a planned demonstration by some residents in Lira City over the delayed resumption of road construction works. Our reporter has more.
Uganda National Roads Authority said that Lira Kamdini Road is included in the Northeastern Road Corridor Asset Management Project as part of the Lot 2 section Soroti Lira Kamdini. The project is funded by the Government of Uganda and the World Bank. UNRA said in a statement that the type of contract being implemented is not like the traditional contracting arrangements where studies are conducted before the work's implementation is procured. The statement added that the signed contract covers the required studies including environmental, social, and technical, and the work's execution, and that the project being financed by the World Bank makes compliance to environmental and social safeguard requirements is key. UNRA said the design for the planned intervention, which is total reconstruction, is complete, and the start of work awaits clearance safeguards documents by the World Bank. The authority said that the contractor is sufficiently equipped and on site to immediately embark on the works. As the works progress, UNRA said it is aware of the intermittent traffic interruptions along Lira Kamdini Road.
Thank you so much, reporter. Moving on in our top stories, Opposition Forum for Democratic Change, FDC, has called upon government to create fuel prices reserves in order to prepare for the current times of the scarcity of fuel in the country.
Speaking to journalists at their party headquarters in Najanankumbi, the FDC party Deputy Secretary General Harold Kaija said in such times of scarcity of fuel and prices skyrocketing, the country needs reserves to stabilize prices.
The questions I was raising is what I thought must be done. As a country must have reserves. That in times like this, those reserves are used to come and stabilize prices. 2.
Kaija also urged government to reduce taxes on fuel, bearing in mind that fuel is a key driver in the country's economy.
Reduce the taxes on what? On fuel. As I told you, fuel is a key driver in our economy. Without it, we are what? We are doomed. Even some of the power we consume.
Between October and November last year, the pump price for petrol skyrocketed from 3,900 shillings to 4,600 shillings, while diesel increased from 3,500 to 4,200 shillings. The situation compelled members of parliament to task the government to explain to the public the reason behind skyrocketing fuel prices across the country. However, Prime Minister Robin Anabanja reassured the country on Friday that fuel supplies will be restored to normal soon. Nalugo Muyingo, Africa Today.
Well, thank you so much, reporter Nalugo. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has in his powers as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces promoted 528 UPDF officers to various ranks. Our reporter has more.
In a statement released by the Army, the promoted officers include 3 from the rank of Lieutenant Colonel to Colonel, 27 from Major to Lieutenant Colonel, and 498 officers from Captain to Major. The statement read in part that Lieutenant Colonel Bernard Tumwesigire, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Mugarura, and Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Nsereko are those promoted to Colonel. The latest development comes 6 months after the previous promotion, in which 5 senior officers were promoted to the ranks of Brigadier General and Major General in June 2021. A month earlier in May, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces had promoted 39 other senior officers to the rank of General.
Thank you so much, reporter. We take a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In international news today, the Ethiopian government has accused the World Health Organization director of misconduct after he criticized conditions in the Tigray region. Now, Tedros, at a media briefing on Wednesday, said that nowhere in the world are the people witnessing hell like Tigray. We have more.
Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus was nominated by the Ethiopian government to be the head of the UN Health Agency for 4 years, but claims he has not lived up to the integrity and professional expectations. He has been accused of interfering in Ethiopia's internal affairs, according to a press release issued on Thursday by the Ethiopian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The statement reads that through his acts, Tedros spread harmful misinformation and compromised World Health Organization's reputation, independence, and credibility. Tedros has on many occasions criticized the situation in his home country and called for humanitarian access to the conflict-ridden region of Ethiopia. He made reference to a memo World Health Organization had received recently from a physician in the region which indicated health authorities had run out of basic medicines for diseases including diabetes and were now using expired stocks and intravenous fluids. Tedros accused Ethiopia of blocking international access to Tigray, saying that World Health Organization had not been allowed to send any supplies to the region since July. However, the Ethiopian government perceives that Tedros was using his office to advance his political interests at the expense of Ethiopia and said that he continues to be an active member of the Tigray People's Liberation Front. Tedros was foreign minister and health minister when the TPLF dominated the country's ruling coalition.
Away from that, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, Mali's former head of state who was toppled by the military in 2020, died on Sunday at his home, according to his family. Now, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita led Mali from 2013 to 2022. We have more on this report.
Former Malian President Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, who led Mali between 2013 and 2020, died Sunday 16th January at his home in Bamako, according to information from his family. A family member told the media that President Ibrahim died on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. at his home in Bamako, which information was confirmed by the several family members. The cause of death was not specified. Ibrahim Boubacar, elected president of Mali in September 2013, was overthrown by the military in August 2022. Mali already plunged into a serious security and political crisis since the outbreak of independent and jihadist insurgencies in 2012, has also been facing heavy sanctions from ECOWAS for a week. Mr. Keita, who claimed to be a leftist, had a meteoric rise under Alpha Omar, the first president from 1992 to 2002 of the democratic era of Mali. He was prime minister from 1994 to 2000. An unsuccessful candidate in the 2002 presidential election, he took his revenge by acceding to the Koulouba Palace, the seat of the Malian presidency in Bamako, in 2013. He was re-elected in 2018 against Somali, then leader of the opposition, who died in December 2020 of COVID-19. The coup that toppled him in August 2022 was followed by a second one in May 2021. The junta, led by Colonel Assimi Goïta, has announced its intention to rule the country for several years, although it had previously committed to organizing presidential and legislative elections on 27 February to allow the return of civilians to power.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. Moving on, the electoral authorities in Somalia have appointed a new chairman after dismissing the former chief accused of involvement in electoral misconduct. Now, the announcement of Somalia's federal election implementation team followed the threat of U.S. sanctions if the country misses the new deadline for February 25th to hold elections. Our reporter has more.
The deputy chief of Fayit, Maulid Matan Salad, said that the defeated candidates got 11 votes while the second candidate, Musigele Yusuf, won 14 votes, adding that from then on is the new chairman of Somalia's federal election implementation team. The mandate of President Muhammad Abdullahi Mohammed, better known as Farmer Joe, expired on February 2021. This mandate was controversially extended in April, leading to a wave of violence in the capital, Mogadishu. The incoming chairman affirmed his commitment to hold the long-awaited scrutiny. Musigele Yusuf said that as regards the long-delayed election and new election deadline, which is a big burden on them, they are committed to start quickly and meet this new deadline, Allah willing. Somali is on the grip of a deadly insurgency by Al-Shabaab extremists. On Wednesday, a suicide car bomb in the capital killed at least 4 people.
Away from that, Mali's Prime Minister announced on Saturday that the country would lodge a formal complaint against the economic sanctions imposed by ECOWAS and the West African Economic and Monetary Union. Take a look at this story.
The announcement was made by the transitional Prime Minister Choguel Maiga during an interview broadcast by the state television channel. During the interview, Choguel Maiga accused former colonial power France of being behind the sanctions in an effort to destabilize the country. Despite the accusation, the transitional prime minister said that negotiations with ECOWAS were ongoing. Referring to the alleged presence of Russian mercenaries in the country, the prime minister dismissed what he described as rumors. Last Friday, thousands of people gathered in Main Square in the capital Bamako to protest against the sanctions. After months of growing diplomatic tensions, ECOWAS leaders agreed last Sunday to shut down borders with Mali and impose a trade embargo.
Africa Today takes a quick break. We shall come back with the business news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In the business news today, Uganda is undergoing a fuel crisis following a build-up of fuel transporters at the major border points of Malaba and Busia in east of the country. Now, queues of waiting trucks as long as 70 kilometers have been reported.
Truck drivers in the region have been protesting against a requirement by the Ugandan government that they test for COVID-19 at the border points regardless of whether they presented a negative PCR test or not. The directive to test at the border was issued at the start of the month. Uganda later suspended it, but there was already a build-up of trucks at the border points. The country imports all its fuel and other petroleum products and consumes about 6.5 million liters, totaling to 1.7 million gallons a day. Fuel prices have been steadily rising since last year, but a major spike has been seen in the past week. In the capital Kampala, some filling stations have seen selling only premium petrol, known as V-Power by some distributors, which costs 5,200 Ugandan shillings per litre at some outlets. This is despite a Ministry of Energy's directive to retailers at the weekend that prices should not exceed 5,000 Ugandan shillings. By end of last week, fuel was already at 10,000 shillings in some other countryside towns. Many outlets have already completely run out of all fuel products.
Now let's turn your attention to iHeart News Today. Now, preliminary data from a recent study has indicated that a third AstraZeneca shot can generate antibodies to fight against the Omicron COVID variant. According to Barbara Neal, country president Africa, AstraZeneca, the latest findings are positive development in the fight against COVID-19.
According to the company, results from the ongoing safety and immunogenicity trial showed that AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, when given as a third dose booster, increases the immune response to Beta, Delta, Alpha and Gamma SARS-CoV-2 variants, while a separate analysis of samples from the trial showed increased antibody response to the Omicron variant. The results were observed among individuals previously vaccinated with either AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine or an mRNA vaccine. A separate phase 4 trial reported in a preprint with the Lancet on SSRN showed that a third dose of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine substantially increased antibody levels following a primary vaccine series with Coronavac Sinovac Biotech. Sir Manny Pangalos, the Executive Vice President Biopharmaceuticals R&D at AstraZeneca, said that AstraZeneca vaccine has protected hundreds of millions of people from COVID-19 around the world, and these data show that it has an important role to play as a third dose booster, including when used after other vaccines. He added that given the ongoing urgency of the pandemic and AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines increased immune response to the Omicron variant, and they will continue to progress regulatory submissions around the world for its use as a third dose booster. Professor Sir Andrew J. Pollard, Chief Investigator and Director of the Oxford Vaccine Group at the University of Oxford, said that those important studies show that a third dose of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine after 2 initial doses of the same vaccine or after mRNA or inactivated vaccines strongly boosts the immunity against COVID-19. The Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine is suitable as an option to enhance immunity in the population for countries considering booster programs, adding to the protection already demonstrated with the first 2 doses.
In our sports news today, reigning champions Algeria are in danger of an early exit of the African Cup of Nations after a shock 1-0 defeat at the hands of outsiders Equatorial Guinea in Douala on Sunday. Now, Etienne Obiang's 70th minute goal gave Equatorial Guinea the victory and brought Algeria's 35th game unbeaten record crashing to an end.
Jamel Belmadi, Algeria head coach, said that the loss ended the Algeria's unbeaten run, putting them in a tough position and a difficult situation which they had not experienced for a long time. Al-Haj Kamara bundled the ball into the net following an astonishing goalkeeping blunder in injury time to give Sierra Leone a shock 2-2 draw with the Ivory Coast at the African Cup of Nations in Douala on Sunday. The Ivory Coast coach was left astonished after the incident but also expressed satisfaction and hopeful in the forthcoming game to further strengthen their qualification to the next stage. Ivory Coast now tops Group E with 4 points. Equatorial Guinea are second with 3 points, Sierra Leone are third with 2 points, and Algeria is last on the table with a point. Ivory Coast will meet Algeria in their last Group E match on Thursday, while Algeria will play Equatorial Guinea on the same day. A win for any team guarantees their qualification. The Gambians also drew Mali 1-1 in Group F matches on Sunday to move both teams closer to the elimination stage. Tunisia also recorded their first win on Sunday after beating Mauritania 0-0. Mali and the Gambians top the group with 4 points each, Tunisia 3 points and Mauritania have no point. The Gambians will face Tunisia while Mali will play Mauritania on Thursday.
Thank you so much for being a loyal audience from where we started from. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.